are in listen-only mode.
Good morning everybody, it's Claire Sherry here from the Change Team and Improvement Service. This morning we've got John Housego from Gore who's going to be presenting on the work they've been doing around their kind of change programme the teams have got there. So hopefully it will be of interest, and I'm sure you'll be able to see some of the kind of transferable ideas that you'll be able to take to your own organisations. As usual, today's session will be recorded, and after the session we'll upload it through the Knowledge Hub and onto YouTube. What we'll do is we'll be able to put any resources as well that we talk about and bring those up as well, and anything else from today you can follow up with John. So I'll hand over to John in a second, and just to say the presentation will be around 40 minutes or so, and then from there we'll be able to take any questions. As usual, you'll see the kind of chat box on your right hand side, and if there's anything that you've got, any thoughts as we go through the presentation, then we'll be able to pick them up as at the end. Again, if there's anything else we want to do, we can pick them up afterwards with John as well. Thanks very much, and I'll hand over to John.
Good morning everyone. My name's John Housego. I work for Gore Associates. We don't do titles in Gore, but my role at the moment is as Enterprise Manufacturing Business Process Champion. I'll explain a little bit about that as we go through around what I've been doing over the last 4 years. The slides are titled Innovation Shapes Everything We Do, which is the backbone of Gore. So I'm going to talk through a few things about Gore, but the primary focus at the end of the presentation is around trusted teams and what does it take to have a trusted team and what is the benefit of a trusted team. So I'm going to go give you a little bit of background about Gore to put it into context, where we are, where we started. I'm also going to go through about how we behave, which is culturally some of the backbone and our value sets around how we operate as associates around the world, and that they are key to how we get to trusted teams and deliver some performance and change. And then really it's a case study of some sort. I'm going to talk you through a project that we've been running over the last 3 or 4 years and give you some of the learnings from that project, because it is somewhat transformational for us. And then, as Sherry said, Claire said, we'll go through some questions at the end. So first things about Gore, it was started by Bill and Viv Gore in their basement 59 years ago. They were in their mid-40s. They had children in college. He was a successful R&D scientist with DuPont, and he wanted to use the properties of PTFE in the manufacture of cable assemblies, actually. And he actually started making the first ribbon cable in his basement using the equipment, partly from his garage, but partly from the kitchen as well. It was a big risk for them, but even when Bill started that company on the 1st of January, he had some real ideas about how he wanted to operate a company, and I'm going to go through a little bit about that as we go through today. So we have grown. We were founded in '58. We're now 10,000 plus associates worldwide. We are more than $3 billion in sales worldwide. You can see on the map the locations where we have associates working. We are still privately held, so the family still own the majority of the shares, but every associate that is longer than 1 year with the company has a stake in the company as a whole. So we are an employee-owned company in that sense, so we each have a stake, and that does frame part of the conversations that we have within the enterprise. We've been recognized as a great place to work globally in the world's best multinational workplace awards. Locally, we're within the UK. We won Best Company to Work For in the UK, the Sunday Times version from 2007 to 2004 to 2007. It's very important for us about how we operate, and when we talk about innovation, innovation is everything we do. Innovation isn't only products, it's about how you process, how you action, and every team has innovation within it. And our culture is driven by a mentality around having a voice and everyone having a voice. and that's why the recognition externally from being a great place to work is very important for us, because we see it's absolutely key to how we can be successful as an enterprise. So this last year we were actually the third best global company, recognized as such, which we were quite proud of. We've also been recognized for innovation in our culture. There's multiple documents and articles and reports and books written about how we operate. One about our innovation from a product stream point of view and how many diverse products we have, but also about how we breed that innovation within the culture that we operate. At the heart of what we do is technology. So we have it's not a division, it's core to us, it's our core technology. And from that technology, which started with PTFE-based materials, we are still probably 90% based on that one material and deployment of that one material and the properties of that one material in multiple businesses. That's quite unusual for a company to be so dependent on one material, but the use of it, we found, still maintains us and still maintains our growth. Most people will know us probably in Scotland for our Gore-Tex product, which is in rainwear as a breathable membrane, as a technology base for all sorts of different fabrics, and then protective clothing because of that. But we're also in multiple, that same material is used for implants into the body. Wherever our products go, there's a commitment to the fitness for use. I'm not quite sure why that's not come through. So it's about ensuring that they do what they say we were going to do. So we make claims about our products, and the company is about the value of those claims and making sure that we provide solutions that meet the need or go beyond the need to add value to the user. But those products need to do what they say they're going to do. Whether you're a fireman running into a fire with a flame protective breathable garment from Gore, or a jet pilot that's got a fly-by-wire microwave assembly cable that's connecting his instruments to the airplane, they need to do what they say they're going to do. Our standards are about high quality and product integrity. We are used in high value areas. And interestingly, one of the things about Gore is that when a recession hits, actually we tend to do quite well. And part of that is that the customers may take a risk when things are good, but they won't take a risk when things are getting tough and bad. And they tend not to take a risk, and they buy us, which is part of what our standards stand for. Our products come from understanding our customers, and the needs and the end solutions and applications are based around what the value in the market to, and what are real problems to be solved. So our products are very cleanly separated in product concept to meet specific needs. So if I use the example of Gore-Tex material in garments, there is over 100 forms of Gore-Tex to meet different needs, whether that be a mountaineer on the top of Everest, or a golfer playing at St Andrews, or a fireman, or a policeman, or a multitude of other end user groups. We manipulate the material to meet that best need. We're set up within 4 divisions. If we include Gore-Tex, 3 business divisions, if you like. Fabrics, which most people know, it's about protection under any or many conditions, whether that is at the top of Everest or whether that is over water flight suit for an Air Force pilot. It's about reliability. Our cable and solutions within cable manufacturer are about high integrity reliability within space, aerospace, and other applications. Our medical products is one of our growth areas. It's been around for 40 odd years in Gore, using the same material in terms of Gore-Tex and expanded PTFE into the body. That could be patches, it could be stents, or different types of products. And we're also in industry to optimize their manufacturing around filtering solutions and sealing conditions within high-grade processing plants. So our product range is very diverse, from rolled goods to discrete components to cable assemblies to devices that go inside the body. So we are a global enterprise, very diverse range of products, which you need to take into account when I start talking about the case study. As an enterprise, we have grown up around small teams, and I'll explain to you a bit about that. But as part of that diversity of business thinking and manufacturing, we have many solutions trying to do the same thing. So our culture and how we operate is based on personal relationships. We have a set of values that are clear and well known within the company, and there's an expectation for us to operate within this culture. It's lattice based in the sense that we don't have a clear hierarchy. It's very fluid, and we will change our organizational shape very easily based on whatever need occurs within our businesses or within our markets. We do that to minimize our bureaucracy. If you have a hierarchy, there needs to be threads of bureaucracy. We try to go through that by having one-to-one communications and direct and being aware of who is the knowledge-based person that you would go to get an answer to a question or a decision made. This whole environment is built around innovation and creativity, so we're looking for creativity in every associate, not just those trying to invent the next new product line. In all areas of our business, we can continuously improve and find better ways of doing things, and this environment is built around trying to do that. So it's about optimizing us as a business, as well as us as a product solution provider to the markets. And as owners, as joint owners and responsible for the owners, that really helps us take true ownership for not only the money that we spend, but the ideas and the decisions that we make. So one of the things that defines us is we talk about leaders in Gore. Lots of organizations talk about leadership. The difference, I believe, in Gore is that you can't be a leader in Gore unless you're followed. That is a gift word in the sense that someone chooses to follow someone else, and therefore that gift of choosing creates the leadership. And we have this term multiplicity of leadership. So there's not just one leader necessarily in a group or a department. There'll be different leaders who are most knowledgeable around different circumstances. So leaders so that fluid nature of our organization also flows into the fluid nature of leadership, who takes point on certain aspects based on their knowledge. And it's not always the leader of the team that has the most knowledge, and he will defer to the person that does. So our core beliefs are these four, which are easily written and not easily understood in some ways around how they manifest themselves into actual working practices. So we have a strong belief in the individual. We believe that every single associate comes to work to do a good job, to be rewarded for doing that job, to be recognized for doing that job, and to really enjoy doing that, leveraging their strengths to the best of the company and themselves. So we're trying to find this sweet spot between business need, associate skill set, and needs, and interest in motivation, and the experience and skills that they've got to deliver a highly productive, engaged associate. So when people talk to me, are you unionized? I would say, yes, we are unionized, and they will be surprised. And I say, yes, we're unionized. If I've got a plant of 100 people, I have 100 unions to meet the needs of. It's not about one group speaking for a whole load of group. It's like every individual needs to be found the spot that best fits them to keep them engaged. So our level of engagement is really important to us. We measure it every other year statistically to ensure that we're following that practice and keeping associates engaged. We organize ourselves in small teams. That provides focus. It also engages this accountability and responsibility within the team that they own something and that their decisions and actions are within their own destiny. So that term of empowered teams is really important for us. that shared ownership of achieving results and being rewarded for those results. It's about faster knowledge-based decision-making, so being clear about where does the knowledge sit and what's their remit and waterline for making those decisions. We have a view that we're all in the same boat, so we are as an enterprise. So we're very diverse, we're very spread around the world, but we are only one, we're all on one boat, which is the boat of the enterprise. And we make decisions based on that. So we can benefit from each other. So the way that we reward associates is not by bonus by individual business or business unit or even by contract or any of that. We reward ourselves as an enterprise together. So when we do well, we all win. Because we're privately held, we can also take a long-term view. So we can think about a product and really believe that it meets a need in the marketplace, sometimes even before the marketplace knows there is a need for that. Gore-Tex fabrics is an example of that. We were able to invest for a long time in Gore-Tex before it made any money, whereas other companies probably would have killed it. And the reason for that is that the market didn't know it needed breathable materials. It didn't know about sweat and the buildup and the heat generated. And we had to create that knowledge in the marketplace and then offer the product that helped relieve it. So the long-term view is really important for us. It allows us time to innovate. And we are trying to think on a daily basis, not only about the current need, but also the future need and how sustainable that is. So it is all about people. It's about strong embedded values, some of which I've talked about. It's about getting talented associates and finding their sweet spot to keep them engaged and motivated, and they're very clear about their objectives and guidelines, and they know what's within their remit and what's not within their remit. If you can clarify all of that and you have a clear set of values and people understand that and follow that, you don't need a lot of rules and you don't need a lot of hierarchy because it's clear. One of our guiding principles is fairness. So in the head of every associate, there's this concept of fairness, both internally and externally, how we treat each other. If you have that, that sets a whole load of natural conversations that don't need to be written down about how you treat people, how you work with contracts, how you work with a customer. So I'm going to talk through a case study-ish in a trusted team. So I've been working on a project that's called EMIP, which stands for Enterprise Manufacturing Execution Process. The problem that we recognized is the way that we make stuff. So we make a lot of products in lots of different ways. We were finding it's difficult to scale our business. Even when opportunities arrived, sometimes we couldn't take advantage of those opportunities because we were too slow in reacting to that. We have a diverse range of products and solutions for meeting those needs are very diverse, and it was costing us more and increasing more money to support those solutions. Because of our diverse nature, we had no effective mechanisms of continuous improvement as an enterprise. We could do it locally, and maybe even by a plant or by a machine, but actually as an enterprise we couldn't find ways to continuously improve and make those big economies of scale improvements that other companies were able to do. Our inability to leverage resources across plants, because our solutions were so different, if you had a product range that wasn't doing so well, you couldn't move those associates into an area to another product range that was doing so well because the solutions were so different and the time to train and move people was too much. We have a global plant base, and we see ourselves increasing that global plant base as our business grows, and that's a problem for us in the way that we're organized and finding those solutions today. And the final piece that sort of triggered this motion was I took a tour, and I recognized in each of the plants in all of the divisions they actually had the same problem. And many of them were justifying individual projects to overcome their individual product problems. And actually, when I put it all together, everyone was starting projects to solve the same problem. In that case, there was 5 or 6 projects that were being started, and actually the concepts were the very same. And I made the suggestion that maybe we should just do it once for everybody. So what's the scale of the problem? We have 42 plants worldwide. They're organized in 3 divisions plus our Gore-Tex, and within that, multiple business units. So for instance, within a division, there is manufacture of guitar strings, but also manufacture of sealants that goes in big processing kit in polymer plants and refineries. So large diversity even within the divisions. The businesses have developed an isolated focus for their needs. Within business units, they take accountability for their supply chains and their products, and therefore have built solutions based on what they know to meet their own individual needs. There was no enterprise-wide business process mechanism, so there was nothing you could connect it to that said, what are you actually trying to achieve, and relating that solution to what those achievements are related to, because we couldn't state a business process. We needed to change, and I put forward this plan of saying, let's do this together as one. Let's understand, although we're very diverse, let's understand what the business process is and whether we can actually come up with a single solution. So how do you try to harmonize 42 plants? You need a team. So this gets to the hub of the question, really. You need a trusted and knowledgeable team. You need to be sure that they're empowered to make decisions, because with 42 plants and maybe 4,000 associates working in manufacturing, you can't ask 4,000 associates to come up with a solution. So you have to have a team that's small enough to be able to do that. So we talk about small teams as a core element of our culture, but you also needed that small team to be knowledgeable enough to be able to make the decisions for all of those 4,000 associates and 42 plants. So I asked the enterprise operations leadership team, I said, I need your best people, and that's not you, because you don't know the details of how you make stuff. I need the people in your teams and in your divisions that really, really know how you make stuff. The most knowledgeable. But they need to be more than that. Not only do they need to be knowledgeable, they have to be credible. So when one of those members that represent a division go back to the division, they are listened to and trusted, and they are truly trusted to make the decisions on behalf of the whole division or the team or the plant. So they needed to build their own network back in their divisions, but primarily I needed them to be credible people. They are trusted by the whole team in that sense. So a group of, in our case, we actually had a group of 7 people that are primarily making the decisions on behalf of 4,000 associates around how we make stuff, what manufacturing execution actually is. So that small team also needed to develop as a team. So they need to know and trust each other. So they've come from different places. They may or may not have worked together before. So one of the key aspects is you got to form a team first, so that not only are they trusted back, but they are actually within the team. They're trusted that each of them are bringing back what's needed to be brought back to that team, so that we are building an enterprise solution, that we're not missing pieces, because the credibility of the whole team is then dependent on that group as a team on behalf of the enterprise. So I've mentioned this word before, but trust is a gift word. You can't buy trust. You can't go to the shop and get some. It's earned and it's given by associates. So when I talk about trusted associates in Gore, I mean that they are credible and they're recognized as trusted, credible associates. And that trust is there. If that trust is not there, it will not work. The ability to be, for a solution to be delivered by a team that's not trusted, really removes the ability of that solution to actually be working and get traction and actually deliver some benefit. So in Gore, we will often talk about, you can have a 100% perfect strategy, but if you can't get it deployed and executed, it's not worth anything. So I'd much rather have an 80% strategy that is fully deployed and trusted and actioned, and you'll get much better value out of that than a 100% strategy that is not. The key thing that's different between there is the strategy, and those that's created it, and those that are selling it, if you like, to the enterprise. Are they trusted and known to be competent and knowledgeable by the broader group, or are they not? If they are, it will get traction and it will work. So another piece here, you need to educate the team. So education is about to bring out of. So part of that bringing out of is you need to educate the team of themselves and the knowledge that's within that. So you need to bring out the knowledge of the individuals that are there out onto the table so the whole team can learn together. That's not the same as training. Training pushes in. If you've got the best people, the most knowledgeable people, you have to form that team and educate them as a whole as to what the capabilities and competencies are within that team. So once you have that team, you need to build that trust and actually do some strong team building within that team to make it function correctly. You do need to educate them on the challenge, and part of this was a learning journey for us. So we were learning together and educating ourselves together on what the actual challenge was. We did not have a defined route. We wanted the team to define that, and I'll state why. But as the team grew, it became obvious to us that you also need to onboard associates. So as the team went from 5 to 10 to 20 to 100, as you learned and we went through that learning curve, you have to bring the new members up to speed as quickly as possible. Otherwise, you slow the whole organization down, the team down. You also need to know and understand the makeup of your team. So in my case, my team was mostly processors. These are people that won't react immediately to something. They'll go away and process it overnight or a day and then come back and have input to it. So if I went in expecting to get their reaction immediately in a meeting, it would never happen. And it would be very uncomfortable for them if I insisted that they gave me their opinion, because they were processors. They needed to process it, put it into place, and then come. So structure of the meetings changed because of the makeup of the team, and the way that we ran that team is dependent on the makeup of that team. So understanding that and doing some true team knowledge really helps in structuring how you actually do work. And the final point, a big lesson across Gore, as always, it is you get the most knowledgeable people in the room. Don't tell them what the solution is. The whole reason you've got the most knowledgeable people in the room is that they are the best people served to come up with the solution. What you can do as a leader is tell them what the problem is. So for them to have a clear understanding of what the problem is and recognition of what's been recognized as a whole as the issue, then they can start putting their minds about with their knowledge around how can we make that better. If you've assembled a team of the most knowledgeable people, they are best suited to make those solutions. If they're not, your team is wrong. So if you're finding they can't come up with the solutions, it's probably the wrong team, and they don't know, and they're having to go out of the team to go somebody who does know and bring it back. Second-hand knowledge is no good. Get first-hand knowledge of really trusted people, and you'll move a lot faster. So we worked on some deliverables. We clarified and agreed the goal, the concepts, some of the targets. We defined where and what to harmonize. That was a learning in itself. We defined terminology, so we talk the same language. Really, really, really important. We grew up in clusters in different teams and different cultures in different countries. So when we pulled the team together, often you would have quite a heated discussion, and I would sit there on the background and try and listen to both of them and say, actually, aren't you saying the same thing? So when I talked about a business process definition, one of the things that helps with that is clarity around what you're talking about. So we use words differently, even between American and English, but also between two Americans in two different plants. They use certain words to mean different things. You have to get rid of all of that and be very clear about when you say this, you're actually meaning this, to get everyone on the same page. That probably took us two months to get through and recognize and do something about that. Actually, it was the terminology that was causing us the grief, not anything else. And we needed to develop a process to get to a goal. Now, none of this was laid out. So we went externally, looked for best practice, and tried to apply it with a mindset of, why wouldn't this work for us? If it's a best practice outside, why wouldn't this work for us? rather than trying to develop our own thing and then testing it against best practice, which actually is very inefficient. We did do a lot of work on organizational change management. That's a big topic in itself, and it's probably a 3-hour presentation. Understanding stakeholders, understanding messages, understanding what it takes to change an organization or transform an organization needs a lot of work and effort. So bottom line is, at our high-level scope, we went to APQC, which is an external standard on business processes. It defines all business processes for all of business. When you look at how you make products, 4.3 actually was our focus. So produce, manufacture, and deliver product. It's made up of the 4 sub-products, sub-processes: schedule production, produce product, perform quality testing, maintain production records. That became our structure for dealing with that terminology. So which box are you talking about now? What requirement are you needing from your particular product range that needs to be in here? Where does it fit within this business process? And this is, so the 4.3 is level 1, the 4.3.2 is level 2, the next one is level 3. We actually went down to level 6 and broke this down to level 6 so that we could get to a level where we could talk about where there's true differences in what we needed to do, if there was any. And in fact, that took us about 6 months to get through that process, and we actually found no requirements that was unique at all against the diverse product range that we've got. We found product form uniqueness, but not individual business uniqueness at all. So what does it take? A lot more listening than telling, that's for sure, on parties of all parties to do that. You have to develop a mindset where you drop your current solution. So I actually banned it in our meetings. I said if anyone starts talking about their current solution, then they have to go outside for 20 minutes. Because what it causes is they take ownership and they're very passionate about the solutions that's been delivered, because often they spend a lot of time and effort creating them. Then they get defensive, and then you start throwing stones at each other about your solution, my solution. And actually none of that was relevant because they were created in a completely different mindset of what we were trying to do as an enterprise. So none of their solutions were relevant. So I made sure on the table that it was clear that we are not making a choice between your solution or our solution. We are building a brand new solution. We just need to learn from our previous solutions to take it into the single new solution. So forget your current solution. You need leadership to be resilient and endurance, to be patient for the outcome. These things transformation doesn't take, it takes time. You can't do it quickly. Building the team confidence takes time. So when I pulled this team together first time, they were saying, why should I come to that meeting? We're never going to do this. It's just a waste of my time. It takes time for them to be serious, and that the leadership is serious, that we are going to action whatever they come up with, that we are going to really mean what we're saying we're going to do as a strategy for the enterprise. It takes time for that belief to set in. Once it settles in, you accelerate. They go, oh crikey, we better get this done then. You need a leader who can hold the vision and keep you on course, not only from the highest level of the enterprise, but right through to deployment of projects and programs. That consistency of vision and message needs to be all the way through. Otherwise, associates just see, different messaging and going, well, they really don't mean it because they're not all saying the same thing. That level of leadership, alignment and vision is absolutely key. You need to understand your stakeholders, and those stakeholders need to support the leader and listen to the team's output. So recognizing who your stakeholder groups are, whether they're leadership teams, different teams, you need to understand and work with them. I'm going to quickly run you through our transformation in a mindset point of view, and I'm going to leverage the leadership of self. Some of you may or may not seen the self-development cycle before. So I'm just going to quickly run through this. So it's made up of becoming self-aware, self-control, self-esteem, and self-actualization to develop self-respect. And that works for an individual, but it also works for an enterprise. So when I look at our enterprise as a whole, starting this journey, we recognized it was difficult for us to grow. Our systems did not enable us to do that, and we were being left behind by some of our competitors. That's all about self-awareness. We took control by creating an enterprise business process project. We engaged with some external help to do that, and we made choices about the CBM, which is a component business model. So where are we focused on as a company around that external documentation of what a business needs to do? We selected some initiatives, so where we were going to focus first. We formed some teams, and we developed a roadmap around how we would make that happen. And the final piece of that self-actualization piece is we needed to implement the change. We needed to change the mindset in all associates around the world, because we were going to change the way that we worked, how we actually did stuff. Not how we treated our associates culturally or our expectations of associates culturally or any of that. None of that changed. But how we actually did work would be different. But then I look at EMIP as a project team and our team. So what is it that we had to go through in that development of self-respect for what we were? We knew we had inefficient shop fill systems. We had multiple versions of how we tracked product within the product range. We had difficulty moving products between plants. We had divisional customizations that were built by individuals that no longer work for the company and were key to us producing product. And we had very slow implementations. So we formed the team, we determined principles for making decisions, and we focused our efforts on that business process that would drive us to what actually we were trying to achieve. We then gathered our business needs individually. We learned how to do that, how to frame those up, and we decided on our key performance indicators that tie to those business processes. So what is it that's important in that process and how we're going to measure whether we're doing better or not for that continuous improvement. And we worked on understanding the depth of harmonization and value. So how far does harmonization go that adds value? Where does it need to stop because it stops adding value and becomes a handicap and an admin overhead? We developed the process and data requirements. We created an implementation plan and a team. We pulled that together and we created Gore Standard solution. I use this set of 3 slides when I'm onboarding new associates coming into the project. The final one is what's expected of ourselves. So as an awareness, you need to understand and appreciate what the enterprise goals are and what that means to you as an individual. Your work is going to change. Are you excited about that, or are you going to try and block that? So understanding that is that self-awareness piece that we expect of associates to get through. You took a commitment in EMIP, so therefore you're willing to deliver some capability to the project team. You need to understand your role, and you need to buy into the team's method. So don't come and say, oh, that method doesn't work for me. I want us to do this. No. You're coming onto the team to work how we work. So buy into the methods that have been developed. You need to clarify those deliverables, your personal deliverables, your participation in setting those milestones for the team's delivery, support the team's development, appreciate our progress. And you need to become a change agent with this mindset of the enterprise change and use your knowledge to develop the solutions. So where is our project? I started the core team in April 14 of that group of 5 or 6 people. That expanded into 6 interconnected projects when we understood what we needed to deliver. The team increased to over 100 associates working in 4 regions from Arizona to Dundee. We've been running for 3 years. We defined our business processes, our requirements are written and agreed upon, and our whole solution has been validated to meet internal and external validation requirements, including the FDA. Our solutions are built. A single solution has been built that meets the full enterprise need, which was never believed possible. And we validated that single solution. And that single solution went live for the first time in the first plant just on the 1st of May this year. And it's working well, and everyone's going, well, we didn't expect it to go quite that well. I go, well, you get the best people in a trusted team, the solution will work. So over the next 3 years, our challenge is to deploy to 41 remaining locations, and that starts in September, and we'll roll out from there on a 3 or 4 month basis going forward. I'm not sure why that's not showing up, but we will be removing, so when I talked about customization, we'll be removing over 1,000 individual automotive solutions that are in these plants today. In one plant, there's over 300 ways of doing it in different software solutions, whether that be Excel spreadsheets, access databases, mainframe systems, and we're delivering it with the single solution. So in summary, trusted teams do amazing things. Solutions delivered by a trusted team are accepted, so that change, that transformation can actually happen. You need to gather that credible, knowledgeable team. You need to empower them to make decisions and take ownership for those decisions. You need to build the team in a trusted environment as a group so that the voices are heard within the team and they can say whatever they want to or need to say in those meetings, because that's the only way you get to the hub of the problem. You need to educate that team, bring out of the knowledge that they have into the broader sense of the team, and that's based on the members, and you work around how you organize those teams and how you drive that process in those teams based on the makeup of that team. And as a leader, you state the problem to be solved, not how to solve it. So as Gore as a whole, we're here to nurture and vibrate the vibrant culture that engages associates who deliver innovative products and create extraordinary value for our stakeholders, which include our customers. We do that by being clear about how we operate and how we behave together as a culture. We're clear about what our expectations of associates are in terms of working, and we're clear about what our products need to deliver and how they deliver it in the sense that we are proud of them. So whenever I do these things, I think you need one sheet to take away that's really good. So what I've done is you can determine whether it's very good or not, but what I wanted to do was create a summary sheet of all of the things that I've learned from this last 3 years of journey. I'm not going to go through them there, but it's there for you to use when and where appropriate. And with that, I'll hand over to some questions.
Okay, that's great, John. Thanks very much. I found that presentation fascinating. There's quite a few things for me that resonated with the kind of work we've been doing, I guess, across the public sector about the diverse range of products. If you think about Gore's examples there, but obviously thinking about councils in terms of the wide-ranging services that we've got, but also about how you approach change and think about it as one. There's also quite a few things for me about the jumping to solutions, so that was quite interesting as well to hear that perspective as well. And I guess as well the biggest thing is about the organisational change management, which I know a number of people are looking at. So on that note, I would just like to hand over for any questions. Like I said at the start, your chat box would be on your right hand side, so if there's anything, please just note it down. I know I've got one anyway just now, so we can kick off with that. And if there's anything, then just please send it through to us, that'd be great. I guess, John, maybe the first question I can start off with then is, obviously you talked about trust in teams. How did you overcome the ones that were maybe not so trusting and engaging in the process? Did you have any kind of challenges around that?
Yeah, so you have some casualties.
Yep.
And when you do transformation, often there's quite major casualties in that process, the people that can't adapt to the new way of working. So actually, one of our stories is that our main technical associate that understood how to build these solutions couldn't adapt to the change of the group, and he had to leave the company.
Okay.
And when he left the company, everyone goes, but he knows the most about. I go, yeah, but he didn't get it. And if he doesn't get it, he can't be part of the change. Mm-hmm. So we had to develop others to do that. So that's the worst case that can happen. The best case is it just takes longer to get over the message and consistency. And again, that's about how does the associate listen, mm-hmm. and how do they learn? And if you understand how that is, then the messaging can be tuned differently to them so they actually understand and appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And sometimes that is take them to somewhere to show that it's the same if they don't believe.
Yep. And again, I think that was another point that I found really interesting, is about knowing who you're engaging with and what style they appreciate, so that you can kind of go at that on that basis. Yeah, that's great. Right, we've got a little question coming in through here. So we've got a question around, what are the types of behaviours that an associate demonstrates to show he or she can be trusted? Did you have any training?
Well, yes, that's a good question. So we do associate training. We call it leadership effectiveness training, which is a way of ensuring that all associates can talk to each other about issues. So one of the ways we expect associates to behave is that when there is an issue between two, that they approach it together, and we provide some tool sets around how they can frame that conversation, so that it's not becoming a blame thing, it's a feeling thing. So that's called leadership effectiveness training. At the end of the day, authenticity, and people value trust, or trust people in different ways. Some people you meet for the first time, you trust them immediately. Other people take a long time to trust somebody. So trust is a gift. Everyone's different, and we need to recognize that everyone's different.
Okay. Thanks, John. We've got another question here. Did you find any cultural differences in different countries? Obviously, you can mentioned about some of the various countries across the world you're working in, but obviously, a person asking the question is saying that obviously there's quite a lot of different cultures in one council. So,
yeah. So how you do things, which is what people mostly talk about as culture, is different from what I would argue is a culture of a human being wanting to do good work. Now, if I look at a human being wanting to do good work in any country, actually those motivations are exactly the same, whether you're Japanese, Chinese, German, Scottish, American. What overrides that is how within those countries you're used to doing those things. So they mold those human emotions into a structure. So there are cultural differences within Gore. So in Germany, who like hierarchy, although we try to remove it, we have these two concepts of leader and sponsor. You choose your sponsor, your leaders, through the mechanism of followership, but is basically appointed to you in your team. In Germany, they like the sponsor to be the same person. In UK, we deliberately say it's different because I want a different perspective. Now, culturally, that is different, but within the flexibility of our culture, we can make that happen, as long as the leader that sponsor as well can have two hats, because they're two different tasks.
Okay, that's great, John. Now, I don't know if there's any other questions kind of coming through. If so, feel free to send them in the chat box there. Otherwise, it's just really a big, massive thank you to John for the presentation today. Like I said at the start, we'll be putting the slides online and the recording as well, so you'll be able to access it and send it around if there's other colleagues or whatever that would benefit from listening to it. And again, just to say, there's a kind of questionnaire at the end once we kind of stop the broadcast, which would be great if you could fill out to give us some feedback and things as well. And the other thing is just to say, if you've not already, please do sign up for the Change Managers Network on the Knowledge Hub, and we'll send that out with the links to recording, etc. after today. So I think if that's everything, anything else, John?
Yeah, I'd like to say one thing. So the question around how do you know they're trusted or not? So Gore is structured differently from a hierarchy, but we have a hierarchy. We're clear about who owns what in our leadership structure, and whose commitment is broader and narrower based on their commitment, right? The difference with us is that everyone's got a voice, and no one voice is more important than another voice in that sense. In a hierarchy, and I used to work for Kodak, which was a very hierarchical company, there was a team leader, but there was also a knowledge leader in the team. So if those were two different people. So you went, if you had a question to ask, and I was an engineer, you would ask the guy that you knew you would get the right answer from. You would ask the team leader a different question. In the best hierarchies, they're the same person, rather than, so the technical guy, I trusted him to give me a technical answer, where I didn't trust my leader to give me a technical answer. In the best companies, they will be the same person. And in our company, that moves around based on the question. And if you can create that fluidity, then it's much more, there's a lot more avenues for people to grow and develop, right? Because you don't have to be the leader to have credibility and strength within the team and self-respect within the team. There's multiple ways of doing that. And I think that's the unique piece about, if you can get to that level of environment where everyone is recognized for what they can give and can go and lead at some stage, then it's much more empowering and beneficial and engaging as an associate.
That's brilliant, John. Thanks very much for that. And I think that might be everything for today. So
Sure.
Thanks very much, everybody. Thank you.